Hi, everybody. I'm starting the recording, and thanks for joining. And whether you're here in person or drop in a bit, or we do this together on the rewind on the recording. You're welcome to use this recording, of course, as often as you want. Share it with your friends, and hang on to it. It'll be on my YouTube channel. I'll transfer the Zoom recording to a YouTube link and share the YouTube link with you. And just a word of what's a word? Warnings are too strong. Zoom super compresses their videos. So when I do it, when you're live with me, the quality is presumably quite good. I've heard it's quite clear. When Zoom compresses a video into its format and then I make a link, YouTube link, it does affect the quality of the video. So it's not quite as clear as I would like it to be, a little bit grainy. So just a word about that when you watch the recording, it may appear a little bit grainy. So without further ado, just tip up my other yoga mat that tipped over. Welcome, and let's get started. If you prefer to sit on a little block or half block, I have one of these at hand. It's thinner than a regular yoga block. It's like a piece of thick, dense sponge. It's super nice for many people to lift up the hips somewhat when seated. Some people don't feel they need it, but it does enable us sometimes to sit a little straighter, prevent our abdomen, our chest area from maybe tipping, spilling forward. So if that helps you to sit a little taller, I invite you to grab something. It can be a cushion or a mid-sized book or a couple of books together if you don't have one of these thinner yoga blocks. So let's get settled. We'll start seated this evening, this first class together. And we'll come to the breath. If you'd like to shut down your eyes, that's an option. And we'll slowly start to feel in to our bodies, to our breath, and to the space we're in. I like to invite my students always, if there's any extra little wiggling you feel you need to do to get settled and get kind of centered, just take what you need and we'll come to the breath. Perhaps a big, beautiful inhale and a strong exhale to release whatever you might be hanging around from the day. Inhale, that's just a big exhale out. A couple more of those. And then inviting the mind, the body to come to stillness. Maybe that means shutting down the eyes, bringing your gaze behind your eyelids to a center point, perhaps. Perhaps resting the tongue on the bottom of the mouth. Lifting up, opening up your heart space. And beginning to invite the breaths to become deeper, longer, slower. And noticing the journey of the breath. Beginning with the entry point of the breath, noticing where the breath is entering, your nose or your mouth. And at that entry point, when you breathe in, does it feel moist or dry or warm or cool? Then we'll follow that journey down into your body, the journey of the breath, and noticing where you're feeling the expansion. Are you feeling it between your ribs, down in your lower belly, sides or back? Maybe you feel it more up in your upper chest. Never judging, just noticing. And then the breath tumbles into the exhale and the breath leaves the body, and noticing where that exit point is and how it feels at that exit point. There's a bit of a pause before we take in another breath, noticing its journey, its landing place, how it feels as it expands. And then tumbling into the exhale for the breath to leave the body. So coming into a rhythm with that, maybe the breath has a possibility of going a little deeper, reaching a little deeper, reaching a little broader, slowing down, maybe a little more air coming in. And as we inquire in this possibility of the breath becoming deeper and slower and longer, I invite you to set your own personal intention for our practice together this evening. And I'd just like to reiterate that an intention It can be many things. It can be an I am statement. It can be an affirmation. It can be a single word or feeling or a color. A word such as notice or surrender or stability or explore or listen or feel or gratitude or love. Whatever is resonating with you in this moment, right now, for this practice, I invite you to take that in, maybe tuck that intention into your heart space, keeping it safe and cozy for the duration. Few more deep, slow, noticing breaths, inviting the heart to open and lift tall through the crown space, softening through jaw, cheeks, lips, and tongue. Perhaps tucking the chin slightly, if that lifts your crown a little taller, gets you a little straighter and taller. Breathing. Now let's move into a few Robin's breaths. Robin's breath, we take the thumbs to meet the index fingers, bring the arms in front. Inhale to open the heart and lift up. Inhale. Then we exhale to wrap our arms round the spine and give ourselves a hug. Inhale again to open and lift. Exhale, sweeping arms into a hug as the other arm wraps on top, rounding the spine. Inhaling to open and lift and expand. Smile. Exhale as we give ourselves a hug, first arm on top, wrapping our arms in, rounding our spine. Inhaling to open and lift. Exhale, second side hugging. We'll do that one more each side. Inhaling to open. Exhale to wrap. Inhale to open and lift. Exhale to wrap. Nice. Coming to straight again. Let's change across on our legs. I would bet you that when you cross your legs, when any of us crosses our legs, we generally do it the same way all or most of the time. So it's a fun little thing for the nervous system to mix that up a little bit. Something to notice as you're going through your days. When you cross your legs, do you always put your dominant leg on top? When you cross your arms, which arm goes on top? Cross your fingers. Can you play with the idea of doing it the opposite way? It feels kind of weird at first to cross your arms the other way, but you are giving your brain a little different bit of a message there. So it's just a fun little thing to notice. Okay, our legs across the other way. Let's bring the arms all the way up. Beautiful reach up. Turn the fingers to the earth. Exhale for some sun breaths. Inhale, getting tall, reaching upwards. Exhale, fingers to earth. We'll do one more of those sun breaths as we inhale up to reach and get tall. Exhale, fingers to earth. Inhaling, arms up again, reaching tall. Let's take right hand to the mat beside us. We'll reach across our side body, sinking the opposite hip into the mat, into the earth. Gaze floating upwards. Here's kind of a rule of the body. The body will follow the gaze. So inviting the gaze skyward, the body will follow and just prevent any tendency to kind of spill forward. So looking up if possible, we're pressing that right hand into the mat, connecting it to the opposite hip. And if there's space, maybe leaning slightly into the back body. Just exploring that possibility if it's available. Breathing, of course, and smiling. Nice. Let's breathe that hand up and over. Exhale the left hand to the back, reach across to the right. Opposite hip sinking down, connecting with that hand on the floor. The hand on the floor is pressing down, the finger pads are wide. Taking the gaze upward once again. The body follows your gaze and maybe leaning slightly into your back body if there's room there for that, if it feels nourishing. One more breath here. And one more time each side, inhaling that up and over. Exhale, right hand landing gently on the mat beside, reaching across the side body, gaze upwards. That elbow of the hand that's on the floor has a little mini bend in it. Finger pads are wide. Press those finger pads into earth as your gaze leads your body skyward. So the lifted gaze kind of spins the body open, spins that back, top shoulder, back slightly, kind of has you automatically leaning a little into your back body with that gaze lifted. One more breath. And taking arm up and over. Inhale, exhale, hand to the mat, reaching across. That elbow has a little bitty bend in it. We're pressing those finger pads strongly into earth, connecting them to the opposite hip that's on the mat. So it'd probably be a left hand, right hip. Gazes upwards, leaning slightly back. So nice. Let's breathe that up and over. Let's take arms skyward again. Inhaling to reach. Exhale, taking your right hand behind you as the left hand floats onto that right knee. We'll come into a very gentle twist. Letting your heart lead the way into your twist. Gaze is just looking behind you. Mini tuck on the chin. The fingers that are behind you planted on the mat or the floor behind you, pressing them into earth. We talk a lot about finger pads being wide. Here's a chance to do that too. Let's press those finger pads down. Maybe give a little mini tug on that right knee with the left hand. Seeing how that feels. Lots of feeling in this practice. Getting taller. Breathe. One more breath. And then inhaling, hands to reach up to center. Exhale, left hand to the mat behind you. The right hand will float to that opposite knee. The finger pads behind are rooted down. They're pressing down. Little gentle tug on that left knee with the right hand. And maybe it takes us a little more deeply into the twist. Tuck the chin slightly and get tall. Breathing. And we'll inhale that back up to center. Fingers to the earth, and let's bring heels in front of us. Windshield wiper, side to side. Maybe getting into your hips here, whatever feels really lovely. Just loosening up, greasing up the joints slightly as we start adding some more movement. Okay, feet underneath us. We're going to come into a toe stand here. Feet are parallel. And just using your hands if you need to get up onto your toes. If you have blocks handy, hopefully you have at least one block handy. I'm just reaching for mine. Keep it nearby. Up on those toes. Maybe the hands come to blocks to stabilize you. Maybe you feel balanced enough to take hands to heart center. Just exploring here. Getting as tall as possible. Reach the crown, shoulders away from the ears. Soften the jaw. And feel into your toes, pressing into earth here. Enjoy the wobble. The wobble's good. The wobble is everything, your nervous system, your vestibular system, your balance system, figuring this out. Your nervous system is getting so much information from your feet and ankles and legs in this position. It's really golden to do these foot ankle mobility exercises in our practice. Okay, let's take 3 more breaths. Then invite hands down to earth. Press heels down, coming up to a forward fold. Feet are parallel. Relaxing that neck. Let's wrap our arms around our slightly bent knees. Grab the opposite arm with the opposite hand. And press our big toes down. Great toe mounds, really rooting down. The other toes too, pressing them all down. Now think of dialing feet and knees away from each other as we press the outside, the lateral parts of the legs into the arms. Pressing legs and arms, resisting with the arms into the legs. Big toes are really rooted here. Neck relaxed. Breathing in the back and belly, pelvic floor. One more breath. So nice. Taking hands slightly behind you now, thumbs to the floor.
palms facing each other. We will power up on 3. We're simply going to bring our hands up to standing. Our body will follow on 3. 1, 2, and 3. Bring your arms up. Inhale. Exhale down to heart center. And here we are standing. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to talk about foot to core connection in these classes and hand to core connection. The first one we're going to work on, and some of you have heard me talk about this, the foot to core connection. What does that mean and how do we find it? First, we're going to organize our body. Our organization is our setup position without turning on our muscles just yet. It's kind of like our alignment. Think of it as your setup position. We use the term organization. So organizing your feet so they're parallel. Knees have a little micro bend in them. Now, we focus on the toes, rooting those big toes, big toe mounds into earth, the other toes too. I've got my hands kind of going here. It's like we're trying to do this with our feet and ankles. We use a terminology, dialing feet and knees away from each other. So try that with me. Press those toes down, knees are unlocked. Dial feet and knees away from each other. Feel into that. Spinning palms forward. That opens up our shoulder joints. Do a lovely external rotation. Just feel into this activation. Tuck chin slightly, get tall, soften the jaw and breathe. 2 more breaths. Feet are rooted down, dial feet and knees away from each other. And release that and just wiggle it out a couple of times. Then turn it on and off. And we're all very different with this. Some of us feel this quite intensely. Some of us feel it less. But no matter how and where we are in the scale of sensation, the work is still being done. Those sensory receptors in our feet, in our legs, in our fascia, in our muscles are sending the information to the nervous system to stabilize. No matter how much you feel it, trust the process. So we'll turn on that activation again. We're organized with feet parallel, knees unlocked, pressing feet and knees, feet into the earth, dialing feet and knees away from each other. It's an energetic activation. Spin your palms forward and feel into the idea of energy traveling from the arches of the feet, up the inseams of the legs, into pelvic floor, lower belly, and then right on up and through the center of your body, out the crown of your head. We're activating your fascial lines and your muscles. We're turning them on. We're giving all kinds of beautiful sensory stimulus to your fascia, to your muscles. And release that. Notice how much you feel it. Did you feel it more this time than last time? Or is it kind of the same? We're noticing. Okay, feet parallel again. Knees unlocked. We'll dial those, press great toe mounds into earth. Dial feet and knees as if they're dialing away from each other. Activate them that way. Spin palms forward. And tune into the possibility of energy flow from arches of feet up inseam of the leg, right into your lower belly, pelvic floor, your Mula Bandha in yoga speak, and then straight on up the center of the body, of the crown of the head. And while we're here, we might even want to tighten our glute muscles. Why not? So this is our Tadasana, our mountain pose. It's activated, it's strong, and there's actually lots going on. Let's take one more breath and release that. We're going to turn on one more time and add an element. So feet parallel, big toe mounds rooting down, feet and knees dialing away from each other, activating up into your pelvic floor, belly, palms spinning forward. Welcome to Tadasana. Let's tuck the chin slightly, tall to the crown, and inhale, hands all the way up above our heads. Steeple the fingers. Inhale, reach tall. Exhale, tip to the right side. Let the gaze float upwards. We're still activating. We're still dialing feet and knees away from each other. And let's try to pull the hands apart as we gaze upwards. And we activate by dialing feet and knees away from each other. Pull hands apart, gazes up, breathe. Lean a little into your back body if you can. One more breath, lovely. Inhale to center, little release, exhale. Inhale, get tall, activate, dial the feet, knees out, reaching tall, and tipping to the other side, gaze floating up. We're dialing feet, knees away from each other. Let's pull the hands out of each other. They're not physically pulling apart. It's an activation. We're trying to pull them apart. We're looking up, lean slightly back if possible. Pull those hands apart. Dial feet and knees out. Soften the jaw and breathe. Lovely. Inhale to center. Let's interlace the fingers completely. Spin palms to ceiling. Turn on your activation. Dial feet and knees away from each other. Tighten your glute muscles. Let's press hands towards the ceiling and try to pull them apart. Press hard, tuck chin slightly. Inhale, exhale, tip slightly to the right side. Gaze floating up. So these are variations on our moon or reed pose. We're turning lots of things on here. Pulling hands apart. Feet and knees dialing away from each other. Gaze upwards. Breathing. Inhale to center. Exhale, second side. Gaze upwards. Pull hands apart. Press them away from us. Keep that activation in your feet and knees dialing away from each other. Beautiful. One more breath. Up to center. Now take those interlocked hands behind the back of your head. Let's keep the activation in the feet. Feet, knees dialing away from each other. It's nice to bend once in a while. And now, as we're tall, heart lifted, pressing the head into hands, hands into head, tuck the chin slightly, press into your back body. Big toes are rooted. They're dialing out. And notice what you're feeling, where you're feeling it. Do you feel tensioning forces up the back of your body? Do you feel your back body come alive? What do you feel in your pelvic floor, belly? Breathing. Nice. Let's release that. Shake it out. Okay. I asked you all to grab something to use as a block. It's great you're joining on the recording. I'm just going to check to see if you anybody with me yet. I think it's just, oops, sorry guys. Yeah. So if you have a block of some sort, this is something to try. If not, you can do it without the block. Either way, we'll pop that block between our thighs. I think all of you have done this with me in the past. And this brings our feet into a beautiful parallel position, right? That number 11 position. We're checking the knees are unlocked as always. I'm moving around here. Let's just kind of move a couple of times and then spread your toes wide. Let's spread them wide. Let's actually lift up the big toes and press the other 8 toes down. It's like if this were our feet. Thumbs would be up, other fingers down. As we're standing tall with that block between. Now we'll press the big toes down, lift up your other 4 toes. Really great for toe, foot, ankle function. And switch, big toes up, other toes down, press, press. And then press big toes down, other 8 toes lifting. Now can you spread all the toes apart? Try to create some space between them. How often do you do that? I do it actually every morning. Before I get out of bed, I start working my toes. Okay, let's relax those toes. Let's find our activation with the big toes rooting down. Feet and knees dialing away from each other. If you're using a block, we can squeeze into the block as well. And we'll simply sweep hands forward and sit into a chair. The block gives us extra support and might add another layer of sensation. If we're squeezing into the block, making sure the big toes are rooted down. This is called chair pose. Now we're going to do some chair breaths here. This is going to look like this. We'll inhale to come up. Exhale, bend the knees. Bring your fists or hands to center. Inhale up. Exhale. And we'll take it with some speed at your own pace. So I'm going to switch to an Ujjayi breath, where it's in and out through the nose. Getting some movement, building some heat. Pumping. We're also pumping the lymphatic system, which is a really great bonus that we get in yoga. Maybe you don't think about that, but we're moving the lymph fluids through the body Definitely a form of detoxification for our whole body, all our muscles, and even our brain. Let's do 10 more. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And find your chair pose. We'll inhale up. Gonna come into a twist. Exhale, take your left elbow to floor, right elbow up, bending the knees. If you use the block, we're squeezing into the block. Big toes rooted down. Let's dial feet to knees away from each other as we perhaps squeeze into the block. Breathing. And we'll breathe up to center. Big reach upwards. Exhale, second side into our twist. One elbow up, one elbow down. Dialing feet and knees away from each other. Foot to core activation. And one more breath. And we'll take that upwards. And exhale, let's set the block down to the side. We'll use it again. Grab a drink of water. Do you have something at your side to hydrate? And we'll come to the front of our mats. I was trying my best to stay on camera. Just between you and I have a very small basement, and I can't even turn the phone to get a panorama view because I can't go back far enough, and you'd lose me. So this is what we're working with. We're using the up and down version of this. So I hope that I can stay on the mat, stay in your field of vision. So we find our Tadasana again with feet parallel, big toes rooting down. Little unlock of the knees, dial your feet and knees away from each other, and we'll inhale up to reach skyward. Dive down the flat back as we exhale to a forward fold. Coming up to a half lift, inhale to a flat back, tuck the chin slightly, exhale, fold. Inhale, partway lift, flat back, tuck the chin. Exhale down. We'll do that one more time. Inhale to a part lift. Tuck chin, flat back. Exhale, hands to floor and stepping back. One leg, then the other. Lower the knees. Let's organize ourselves now into a tabletop position where our knees are under our hips, our hands are under our shoulders, and wag your tail a few times side to side. Just see how that feels. Maybe the elbows bend, maybe the head's moving as we breathe. Lovely. Okay, we're organized with shoulders over hands, hips over knees. Now our hand to core activation. We just did a lot of focus on our foot to core activation. Now we're going to do the hand to core activation. Just as a bit of a recap, I know you've done this with me before. We have the hands pressing in, I'm just coming forward here, it's pressing into the mat, finger pads wide. And it's like, again, with the dialing thing, like we're dialing the hands away from each other. They're not physically moving because they're on the mat. But when we do that dialing out action, we're turning on a lot. We're tensioning the fascial lines, we're tensioning our tissues. So let's try that together. Finger pads are wide. Finger pads press down. Feel that there's tension starting at the finger pads. And then we dial the hands away from each other, like almost like we're trying to unscrew two giant jars. Elbows stand locked. What do you notice? What do you feel? For one thing, you're going to notice that the elbows automatically tuck in. And that's a very important safety piece. If we do chaturangas, kind of push-ups or even planks with elbows out, that's really hard on elbows and shoulder joints. This redistributes the tension the way we want it. Starts at the finger pads. Feel that up in the arches of the hands, kind of sweeping around the wrists. It goes, that tension then goes up to bathe the elbows in like a net of fascial tension, then up around the shoulders all the way down the back. So feel into that for a moment. As we press finger pads down, dial those hands away from each other. Where are you feeling the tensioning forces beginning, traveling through? Now, if we want to add another element, we can press the tops of the feet, like the shoelace parts of the feet, into the mat as we keep that hand to core activation, finger pads wide, hands dialing away from each other. Notice once again, feel in. What are you feeling lighting up, turning on? So this in itself is a pretty strong action. When we add these activations, you know, from looking afar, this would look just like we're hanging out in our hands and knees. But when we turn things on, we really feel it. These are isometric contractions, by the way, where we're not moving just yet. The muscles are contracting, they're shortening, but there's no movement. Okay, from here, let's add some movement, shall we? Let's inhale, lift up the heart, send up the tail. Exhale, round the spine, tuck your tail. These are called cat-cows. Inhale to send up the heart, send up the tail. Exhale to round the spine, like you're drawing your belly button towards your spine, your sternum towards your pubic bone. Inhaling to send up the heart. Finger pads are pressing, hands dialing out. Exhale to round and tuck. And one more time, inhaling, sending up the heart. Exhale to round and bring your pubic bone towards your sternum. Coming back to our center point. Loading a weight onto left hand. And you know, if you're starting to feel some wrist tension, we can take a little moment and move the wrist. Why don't we just do that? Just kind of flex the hands, send them down, do some circles. And the beauty of using the recording, you can pause the recording at any time, take what you need. If you need to stop, move your wrists around. Wrist fatigue, you know, is something that a lot of people feel. And these kind of strengthening, this hand to core activation will really strengthen through the wrist. It works wonders with carpal tunnel syndrome, with healing those kinds of conditions, because we don't want to rest painful areas. Pain is a message for change. Where there's pain, it's a request for change. So something's going on in your movement life that's not quite being done to its most efficiency, right? So by doing these activations ongoingly and regularly, we're giving the right stimulus to the muscles, to the fascial lines, to the tissues to heal. So the wrists will get stronger. Meanwhile, if you need to kind of move around, go ahead and do that. Then we'll find our tabletop once again. Let's load a weight on the left hand for starters. Finger pads are pressing down. We're dialing that hand away from the center. Notice how the elbow tucks in. We'll be nice and stable there. We'll take the right hand forward to a handshake, like you're shaking hands with somebody. This one I might go a little bit off camera. Right hand reaching forward, and then the left foot will go back. We're going to tuck those toes down to earth. Flex that, draw the toes towards the nose, and just invite the heel to lift slightly. The elbow of the left arm, which is the left hand on the floor, has a little mini bend. We're reaching, this is called tiger or bird dog pose. Pressing into the floor with the left hand, right knee, right foot, right ankle. Reaching with a hand, left heel is rising. We can stay here. If you want a little more, we can oscillate, we can move, we can inhale to reach, exhale, bring the right elbow to the left bending knee. Inhale to reach it long. Exhale. These are called isotonic contractions, where muscles are contracting and there's movement involved. Exhale, elbow to knee. Let's do 3 more. And 2. And 3. We'll meet in our extension, in our bird dog, tiger pose. Breathing, send that lifted heel a little higher, reach a little more forward with that outstretched hand, like you're reaching to shake hands with somebody. Breathe, 1 more breath. Lower left knee, slide right hand, palm up through that gangway as the right shoulder head lowers to the floor. Left hand can stay on the floor or can float over your waist, your back, I should say. One more breath. Invite that left hand back to earth. Breathe that right hand through, and we'll plant it on the floor. Open up those finger pads wide. Dial the hand out away from center. Feel that tensioning up the arm, starting with the finger pads. Feel it wrapping around your elbow as the elbow tucks in. And we'll take the left hand to a handshake. Strong fingers. Right foot behind us. Send the heel up. Point the toes to the floor. Send the heel a little higher, reach a little further. We're breathing. The right hand's dialing out. It's on the floor. Staying here, or if you wish, we can move. We can inhale, exhale, bring elbow to knee, belly button to spine. Inhale to extend. Exhale. And inhale. And exhale. How about 3 more? Here's 2. And 3. We'll meet in our extended tiger, reaching with that front hand, extending that back heel up, toes pulling towards the nose. Breathe here. 1 more breath. Then lower right knee, slide left hand through, palm up, head and shoulder lowering to earth. Right hand can stay on the mat or it can drape over your lower back. Your choice. Beautiful breathing. One more breath. Then inviting and breathing that left hand back through. We'll plant it. Take it a little more forward on the mat. Tuck the toes. Press up into a downward facing dog. Sending up the hips. Hands are reaching forward. Again, finger pads are wide here. They're on the earth. It's a closed chain. We're dialing the hands away from each other. Finger pads are always pressing down. Hands dialing out. Notice how the elbows tuck in again. And we get to press a little more deeply. Flatten between the shoulder blades. And imagine that you're pressing the feet away from hands, hands away from feet. Like you're tearing the mat apart. Pressing the hands forward, so try to rip the mat apart. Breathing, of course. Let's add the head. Just check in that the head isn't tensing the neck. We'll just take that nose from one elbow to the other as we breathe, sweeping it from side to side. Very nice. Okay, we're going to come up on our toes. Inhale, send up the heels. Exhale, lower the toes. Inhale up. Exhale down again. More foot function, ankle function work. So valuable. Inhale up. And down. We'll do 1 more of those. Inhale up. Exhale down. Load weight on the left foot. Send the right leg up behind you. Spinning that lifted leg in slightly, like you're trying to tilt that right hip towards earth. Finger pads pressing, hands down the out. Press those hands away from your left foot on the mat. 3-legged dog. On the count of 3, we'll take the right foot forward between the hands. 1, 2, and 3. Bringing it forward, wiggle it into place, and take your block, if you have one, to the inside of your right foot. Left hand on the block, and your knee is at a beautiful 90-degree angle, and your foot an angle as well. Pressing down, finding that geometry there, the beautiful human sacred geometry that we can incorporate into anything that we do, really. Finding that angle. Okay, guess what we're doing with that front foot? We're pressing it down. We're dialing it away from the block, away from the midline, like we're screwing it into the floor. And again, feeling here, as the big toe presses down, the foot dials out. Notice the energy that's created at the foot, up the arch of the foot, up the leg, all the way to top, through the hamstrings at the back, into that hip joint. As we press down, the hip rises up, feeling into that action. My right hand just found my right hip. Tends to want to do that automatically. And let's take a twist. Twist into the right side. Maybe the hand will float up. as we breathe. Keep pressing that front right foot down. Press, press. Breathe, breathe, and smile. Let's take one more breath here. Oh yeah. And we'll spin back around. Take hands onto your femur bone, your big strong femur bone, your thigh bone. Press down to get tall, shoulders rolling back behind us. Now we'll lower that left knee onto earth. Keep the tuck in the toes. Now imagine that we're going to pull that front right foot towards us. And we're going to pull the left foot to the middle as well. So gathering everything in, pull everything, gather, gather, gather. And let's take hands behind our head. Interlace the fingers, tuck the chin, press head into hands, hands into head. As we press down with the front foot, pull that front foot back towards the left knee and drag that back left tuck toe towards your center. Getting tall, tuck your chin, press head into hands. Nice. Let's lower down, hands to the mat. We'll step that front foot back to find our downward facing dog again, and we'll pedal through that dog. Pedal to the feet. Pedal, pedal, pedal. I'm just flipping around here, so I'll be facing the right way. Okay, this time, everybody, we'll load our weight onto right foot, send the left foot up. Press hands forward, three-legged dog. Again, like we're tilting that left hip towards earth, that lifted leg spinning slightly in towards midline. Pressing hands forward, hands down the out, elbows tucked in on the count of three. Take left lifted foot between the hands. 1, 2, and 3. Bring that foot forward. Place a block in the inside of that left foot. Right hand on block. Again, check out those 90-degree angles here. Right at the knee, at the heel, ankle joint. And focusing on that front foot that's on the floor. That's a lot of F's. Pressing that front floor foot down. We're going to dial that foot away from center once again. Again, feeling into that. Where are you feeling the tensioning forces? Are they radiating up from the foot, the arch of the foot, up the leg, into hip, across your hamstrings, of course. Let's let the left hand find left hip into a twist. Maybe left arm floats up skyward, strong fingers, energy pulsing right through each of those 5 fingertips. Press that left foot on the floor down, dial that foot out. Breathe and smile. One more breath. Then we'll spin around, take hands to the femur bone, press down, get tall. Shoulders dropping away from the ears, press into your back toes, and here's where we're going to drop that knee onto the earth. This time we'll put the shoelace on the floor. I want to show you a different variation. So the foot's flat on the floor. Front foot, once again, we're dragging it back, like we're trying to pull that left heel towards the right knee. And the back foot, try dragging that foot and lower leg to center. So everything's once again gathering to center. We're tall. We're pressing down with the hands onto the femur bone, the thigh bone. Get tall. Gather everything in. Pull, pull, pull. And then again, hands to the back of the head. Interlace your fingers. Tuck your chin. Press head into hands. Hands into head. Keep gathering everything to center. Get taller. Breathe. Pull your left leg in to center. Drag your right back leg into center. Tuck the chin. Press head into hands. So nice, everybody. We're breathing. Okay, let's take hands back down the mat. Tuck the back toe. Move the block out of the way. We're going to take a giant step onto the front foot into our forward fold. We've done this before. Relax the head. Micro bend in the knees. Hands, thumb behind us, thumbs to the floor. Palms facing each other. Power up on 3. 1, 2 and 3. Inhale all the way up. Exhale it down. Lovely. Grab a drink. And we're going to do a one-legged standing balance now. I like to do for this first class, some of you know this from me, probably all do, it's simply called deep healing pose because it is in fact a very deep healing pose. And we can really meet ourselves where we're at with this. We can start simple. Start with just a fewer counts and add it on, build into it. So how do we do it? Let's load weight onto your right foot. I'll do my left because I'm mirroring you. Little micro bend in that knee that's on the floor. The foot that's on the floor, it's always dialing away from center, getting that foot to core activation, whether it's 2 or 1 foot on the floor. The other foot, my right, your left, will simply come forward. We'll tilt that foot. I'm going to go back and then some more on the camera here. Tilt that toe towards the nose from the side. It looks like this. And we're simply bringing hands to heart center or holding onto a table or a chair. Hands can be on hips, wherever you want them to be. We're just going to stay here and breathe. I don't have a timer with me this time. I'll do that another time for sure. Lifting up the heart, staying open, tall through the crown. Soften the jaw. Get taller. And this is different for everyone. As we start to fatigue, press more deeply into your standing leg. Get taller on that standing hip. And notice, feel into this. What's going on? Where you're feeling it? Where is the fatigue coming in? Notice the wobble. Embrace it. The wobble, I love it. Think about it. This is total fall prevention. Slip and fall prevention. If you live in an area where there's icy sidewalks in the wintertime, getting out of your car, it's icy. If we practice these balancing poses, we get used to this wobble and self-correcting. Boy, do we get safer out there. So a couple more breaths here. If you need to take a break, go ahead and do that. If you feel you can press a little deeper, get taller for another few breaths, go ahead and take that. Soften the jaw. And then let's put that foot down, shake it out, give yourself some love if you need it. We'll get ready to do the second side. So rooting that left foot, my right, into earth. That knee has a little mini bend. The foot on the floor is rooted. It's dialing away from center line to get really activated, really strong. Other foot simply coming forward. Tip those toes towards your nose, again from the side. It simply looks like this. Couldn't be a simpler standing, single leg standing posture. We tried to design one. This is it, folks. You need to start small with just like 30 seconds or so. Meet yourself where you're at. You need to hold on to something, that's fine too. We're breathing through this. We're building capacity. We're building strength. And we're teaching the nervous system about safety, letting it feel safer. Building balance, building stability. As you start to fatigue, get taller on that standing leg. Get taller on that standing hip. Lift up the heart, taller to the crown. Soften the jaw. Tuck the chin slightly. And feel. I invite you to deeply feel into this. What's going on? Where are you feeling it? Where is the fatigue coming in? Can you breathe through it? Fatigue is different than pain. If it's pain, please stop, take a break. If it's fatigue, explore the possibility of breathing into the fatigue. What would that look like? It's very, very beneficial to reach fatigue a couple of times during our practice. That's how we really build capacity and begin the adaptation process in our tissues. Remember, we're building our new body minute by minute. Everything we do, we're building our future body right now. Okay, let's come out of that, shake it out. Good job, everybody. We'll come down on the mat. We're almost done. This has gone so quickly tonight. We'll come down on our backs. Let's bring our knees with us for a hug. Give yourself a well-deserved hug. Maybe rocking side to side on your lower back. Lots of breathing here. And keeping the right knee tucked in, let's take the left leg long to the floor, long to extension. And breathe. Maybe massaging slightly into that right hip. Maybe the knee moving side to side. Whatever feels really nourishing. And then breathe the left knee into a bend. Take the right leg long to extension. And breathe into that left hip. Breathe the right knee up one more time. Extend the left leg along the floor. And then using the left hand, invite that right knee across the midline. Extend the right arm up, palm upwards. Gaze floating to your right hand. And we're breathing into this twisted root pose. Letting that right shoulder melt and open. Beautiful compression in our inner organs as we breathe into our pelvic floor, our belly, our lower back. One more breath. Unwind from that, knees back to chest. Give yourself a hug. And we'll keep the left knee and take the right leg long to the floor. Right hand on the left knee, guiding it across the midline to the right side of the body. Left arm opening, palm up. Take your gaze to extended left hand. Left shoulder melting and softening as we breathe into that pelvic floor, lower belly, lower back. We're giving our organs a bit of a massage here because we're compressing them in these twists, and then we release. Breathing deeply. Unwinding, rolling back onto our back, sending the feet up. Find the feet or the ankles with your hands, and let's do a happy baby. This is a fun one. Make it your own. We can keep the legs wide, or they can come in the midline. We can bend and straighten them if we wish, pressing our feet into our hands. Again, make it your own. Find some nice corners to breathe into, to move into. Just, it's like a playground. Happy baby is really yours. You could really bend the knees, straighten them, move side to side, do circles with the knees, just exploring here. This organic, nutritious movements that feel lovely in your body. So nice. And then releasing feet back to the floor. Take them long. Let's reach hands overhead, legs long. We'll take a beautiful long reset stretch like first thing in the morning. Reaching long with hands, reaching long with feet. Like what an animal does. And then from here, we'll work our way into our final Shavasana. Whatever you might need on the way, if you need another twist, go ahead and take it. If you want to just set yourself up for Shavasana, press the pause button and turn down the lights, light a candle, put on some music, get a blanket, pillow for your head. Take whatever you need. The beauty of the recording is you can pause it at any time. So get yourself set up and come back and join me when you're ready. And we'll enjoy our Shavasana.
Come back to center. That place in you that is still, calm, quiet, and connected. Your center is a place you can trust. It connects the body, mind, heart, and soul. It connects truth, your inner voice, and the divine. Your best work comes from there. Your most loving times come from there. Your insights, awarenesses, and guidance come from being there at that place. Your best decisions and finest moments come from that place. Your center is a place that is quietly confident, unassuming, spontaneous, and free. It is gentle and kind, but it has the power to defend instinctively against attack. Your center is a place that is naturally joyful and at peace. It is accepting, non-judgmental, and it channels the voice of your heart. It knows perfect timing. It knows the rhythm of the universe, the rhythm of all creation, and it delights in its connection to that rhythm. If you must leave your center to learn a lesson, feel a feeling, or experience something new, do that. Take all the side trips you are called to, but come back to your center when you're done. And go to your center first before you go anywhere else. I will leave you in your very beautiful Shavasana. Take all the time you need here to relax, to rejuvenate, enjoy the stillness, the peace. That is the beauty of our Shavasana pose. I'll say thank you so much for choosing to practice with me in this series. We're going to go some fun places. We're going to do some exploring, going to do lots of building, lots of learning, and lots of feeling. So thank you for joining me on this journey. I'm just thrilled to be here with you. Use this recording as often as you wish. Please share it with your friends and enjoy it with other people. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you so much. The light in me lifts up and honors the light in you. Namaste.